you need. Find out why so many people are saying,
I got my title back with Title Max.
Get your title back with Title Max.
Coming up on Channel 6 News at 10, one of the most bizarre cases from the Twin Peaks trials. We hear more in a Channel 6 News exclusive. Then the Texas primaries are heating up. We'll preview the most hotly contested races for tomorrow's election. And Baylor and Texas squared off for the Big 12 Women's Championship. See who'll walk away with a Big 12 title. Channel 6 News starts right now. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Leslie Draffin. Doug Curran has the night off. Well, it has been almost a week since District Attorney Abel Reyna dismissed more than a dozen Twin Peaks cases. Now, bikers who were arrested and are now cleared are speaking out about what their lives have been like since the deadly shooting. In a Channel 6 News exclusive, Jasmine Caldwell speaks to a biker from Bryan who claims he was arrested even though he wasn't even there when the shooting happened.
It's like you're branded, you know, you just got Twin Peaks on your forehead and no one wants anything to do with you.
But that's how Bryan resident Ben Motzik describes the last 3 years of his life after being arrested during the deadly Twin Peaks shootout. But Motzik claimed he was hardly even there.
I'm not that familiar with Waco, but like kind of a bypass that goes by the shopping center where Twin Peaks was. And that's when we saw all the lights and everything, and I started to panic.
Motzik was on his way to Twin Peaks when he says a friend called him from there saying one of their friends was shot. He says he only stopped by the restaurant to take his friend to the hospital, but was arrested in an empty parking lot in Waco.
I thought they would figure out who we were and then they would let us go.
But that didn't happen. Motzik was put in jail and slapped with $1 million bond. Last week, District Attorney Abel Reyna dismissed 13 cases and refused 24. Motzik was one of them.
I sat there and stared at a wall for 30 minutes and then just started crying, of course.
He says in the last 3 years he's lost his wife, struggled to find a job, and went through an ugly custody battle for his 4-year-old son.
I don't know how many times it was brought up and paperwork was sent over about my pending charges concerning the Twin Peaks incident.
Motzik says he feels for those who died, but wishes there was some type of apology for bikers who had nothing to do with their death.
I'll be dealing with this the rest of my life. Google doesn't go away.
Reporting in Bryan, Jasmine Caldwell, Channel 6 News.
Now, we spoke to Motzik's attorney, Dan Jones. He says he has filed a civil lawsuit against McLennan County, arguing his client was charged without probable cause. That lawsuit is still pending. In other Twin Peaks news, it appears biker Matthew Clendenin will finally go to trial on October 15th. This despite his attorney's motion to have the case dismissed for speedy trial violations. Defense lawyer Clint Broden argues Abel Reyna has delayed the trial too many times, pushing it back from the original date of last November. Although the judge did not side with Broden, he did scold Reyna for using Clendenin's picture in a 2018 political re-election ad, and he ordered Reyna to remove it. Broden then filed a motion for sanctions against Reyna for that ad just a few hours ago, which was still online as of late this afternoon. When we asked Reyna about the latest motion, he refused to comment, citing the gag order. Meanwhile, the race for McLennan County District Attorney is one of the biggest on tomorrow's primary ballot. Republican challenger Barry Johnson is trying to oust incumbent Reyna. In Bell County, C.J. Grisham wants his shot at the District 55 seat held by incumbent Hugh Shine for the last 2 years. For a full list of what's on your ballot and polling locations, go to our website, kcentv.com/2018 primary, and make sure you tune in tomorrow. We have full coverage on air and online when those polls close. Now let's get you a check of the forecast. It looks like you may need a little jacket when you head out to the polls tomorrow morning. Chief Meteorologist Andy Anderson has all the details. Hey, Andy.
Hi there, Leslie. Take a look at this right here. You might need a jacket if you go out right now. It's 57 degrees. Look at that. Winds out of the north at 8 miles an hour. We got some cool air settling in. We had a front come through today. It's what gave us the little brief round of showers and a little bit of thunderstorm activity we had earlier this afternoon. Around midday, Live look now from the Garland-Shelton skyline weather camera, and it's clouded up for us. We're still tracking a little bit of rain down along the frontal boundary. It has slowed down considerably down as it gets towards the Gulf Coast. A little thunder and lightning still going on right along I-10 and on back up towards the Natchez Trace, making its way across Louisiana into Mississippi. We're looking at quiet weather conditions here. The clouds that are in place here should clear out the next couple of hours. I think it's going to be a clear, sunny start to the day tomorrow, but it will be a little on the nippy side. Temperatures cooling down through the 50s into the 40s, and I think by morning we'll probably be looking at temperatures probably around 38 degrees for the coolest readings of the day tomorrow. We'll warm up rapidly with dry air in place. We'll already be at 46 degrees by 8 o'clock, and by lunchtime looking at readings in the upper 60s. We'll have complete details on the forecast coming up a little later in the news.
All right, thanks, Andy. New tonight at 10, Hillsborough Crime Stoppers is increasing the reward for information leading to an arrest in the death of a local mother. Authorities are now offering $5,000, up from $2,000, for information on whomever killed 27-year-old Dion Slider. Now, she was gunned down February 25th in her car in the parking lot of the Crest Ridge apartment complex. Her 4-year-old son allegedly in the backseat of that car. If you have any information, call Hillsborough Crime Stoppers. Their number is on your screen. Police now say an explosion that killed a Northeast Austin man last week was caused by a suspicious package that was placed on his front porch. 39-year-old Anthony House died March 2nd, and police are treating his death as suspicious. They are still trying to figure out how and why the package got to his house and say they are not ruling anything out, but police believe this was an isolated incident and do not think it's related to terrorism. There is still no word from authorities tonight about a body found in Harker Heights. Earlier this evening, police responded to this home near the intersection of Caddo and Warriors Path. Now, we did reach out to Harker Heights police and authorities on the scene, but we weren't given any information about the incident. We will update you whenever that information is available. Meantime, a woman who lied about being assaulted by the Harker Heights Police Department is now charged with perjury. Leah Duray claimed she was injured after officers used excessive force during an arrest for public intoxication back in January. But the Harker Heights Police Department released this video footage disproving Duray's claims. A warrant was issued for her arrest a little over a week ago. She turned herself in to the Garland Police Department today and was then released on a $5,000 bond. The case is now with the Bell County District Attorney's Office. New tonight, the Florida Senate has passed the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act. The bill raises the age of buying a firearm from 18 to 21, requires a 3-day waiting period for most gun purchases, and bans the sale or possession of so-called bump stocks. The bill comes more than 2 weeks after 17 people were killed at that Parkland High School. Since then, many of the students have actually become the most powerful voices in the fight for stronger gun control measures. And starting today, victims of the Las Vegas shooting are starting to receive payouts from the Victims Fund. More than 90,000 donors from all around the world gave nearly $31.5 million since the October shooting. Now, here's how the organizers are divvying up the money. The families of all 58 victims will receive $275,000 each. $10 million will then be divided among the nearly 150 people who spent time in the hospital, with amounts varying from $17,000 to $200,000. More than 300 people who were treated as outpatients will share portions of the remaining $2.5 million. The aircraft carrier Carl Vinson arrived in Vietnam this morning for the first time since the end of the Vietnam War. It represents the largest U.S. military presence in that country since Vietnam was unified under communist leadership after the war ended in 1975. Now, sailors will be there for 5 days. Officials say they'll spend time at a treatment center for people exposed to chemicals like Agent Orange during the war. Then they'll also meet with locals.
Pacific Partnership is just down the road, which is we find very valuable for both of our countries and our navies. And as a submariner, I actually look forward to someday bringing one of our submarines or our submarine tender in here to Vietnam.
Now, analysts speculate this trip may also be meant to send a message to China over its fishing rights, aggressive island building, and militarization of the South China Sea. A Central Texas girl trying to become the youngest girl to ever make it to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. Coming up, the special reason behind her climb.
In-town temperatures, where all the concrete is, probably going to be in the low to mid 40s in most cases, but in the rural areas, I anticipated dropping down into the upper 30s first thing in the morning. We warm up nicely. It's a very dry air mass, and we'll be looking at readings in the mid to upper 70s by late afternoon. We hit 80 in a couple of spots today. Wouldn't be surprised